Matt from New Gamer Nation here at PAX Prime 2015, and I'm talking with Chris Chung, CEO of Motiga, and today we were looking at Gigantic, which is a gigantic game. Chris, well, this has got to be your first PAX experience, I guess, at least for Gigantic, maybe.
So actually, we were here last year. We announced the game in July of 2014, and we had a space right beneath the stairs, off corner somewhere, in attics.
It's got a little bigger since then.
Yeah, it's got a little bigger since then. Yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, Gigantic is really big this year. I mean, it is everywhere. We're even seeing it off-site at GameWorks, which is kind of like a Dave & Buster kind of thing.
Yep.
And it's getting like a lot of like rave reviews from people.
Great.
We got a chance to play it, and it's got elements of an MMO and a little bit of elements of a MOBA. Why don't you talk a little bit about the gameplay?
Sure. You know, the gameplay itself is pretty simple. It's 5v5, basically battle game where each team has a guardian of their own, and the winning objective of the game is to kill the enemy guardian. And you do that by gaining power. And so the primary objective of the game is to gain power for your guardian, and you do that by killing enemy team, controlling more of the map, and spawning creatures. And once you give the guardian enough power, basically the guardian comes out of the lair and goes into sort of battle mode, and you know, travels across the map and attacks the enemy guardian and puts the enemy guardian in a vulnerable state. And you have 20 seconds to basically get a wound. And if you do that 3 times successfully, you win the game. But there are a lot of sort of back and forth. Because of that particular mechanic, you know, there's a lot of opportunities for comeback for the other team. And so it's been exciting to see how people sort of enjoy that experience.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could have a team just kind of dominate and win in 15 minutes, or it could be drawn out to 45 minutes plus. You know, it just depends on the flow of the game, how it's moving.
Right.
Now, the Gigantic game that we have today is not how you originally envisioned the game. So why don't you talk about the progress of where you started and where you ended up?
Sure. So in 2012, when we started this project, we wanted to create a game that sort of captures the fun part of MMO endgame experience, and that was basically, you know, casual raid experience and PvP experience. We wanted to combine that in a sort of smooth, coherent fashion in a single package. And for a while, we were sort of going down that path, and we did some calculation of how much it would take to do the PvE part of the game. It was a lot. You know, we want the game to be fresh sort of week in and week out, and creating that PvE content was going to be extremely expensive for a startup like us. So we decided to scrap that idea and focus on PvP. But we really wanted to take the game, the part of the game that made the PvE experience fun, incorporate into PvP. So we decided to take the giant boss monster and make that part of the PvP experience. So there was an iteration where, you know, we had a neutral monster in the middle, and 2 teams fighting over each other, and that was fun, but not sort of the type of experience that we wanted. And that's when Finney joined us and basically took all of the idea and said, "Hey, here's how we could make this a competitive game." And you know, he designed it in probably April of 2013, and really the 95% of the game hasn't changed since then.
Yeah. Well, it's a good formula. So
yeah.
I guess my next question would just be like with the characters. So having a plethora of characters is always what's going to make a successful MOBA-ish game. I think right now you're up to like 20, 25.
So internally we have about 20. I think right now we're showing 16. We're actually putting one into repair for closed beta. we think it's one of the older characters, and we wanted to put a little bit more pizzazz into the character. So we're reworking it. So right now, if you're in closed beta, you'll only see 15 characters, but we'll be adding more fairly soon.
So that kind of like player feedback and response, is that going to be an ongoing thing? Like you see somebody that's kind of one character is more overpowered than another, and all of a sudden he gets nerfed? Or
No, I think online game is a sort of living, breathing, service. So we definitely want to make sure that we listen to the player feedback and modify when we think it's the right thing to do. We don't want to listen to every feedback, nor do we have the bandwidth to do that. But if we all agree that it's the right thing to do for the game and the community, we'll definitely make a lot of changes. Yeah.
Well, I just want to kind of close out by talking about the platforms. You guys just went through a nice deal with Microsoft. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're extremely happy with the deal. We're going to be on Windows 10 and Xbox One exclusively for a while, and they've been a great partner. We are really happy to launch with Windows 10 and Windows 10 Store. So, if you want to check out Gigantic, find us either on Windows 10 or Xbox One.
Great. Well, Chris, thank you so much for your time. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Have a great PAX.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.